It's interesting you mentioned AI, and then it's interesting you mentioned like you're trying to figure out, is this agentic AI ready for enterprise use? What's your
Yes.
conclusion? Is it ready or still too early?
So I would say it is very early stage to really make it more useful, where the human, if I think as a human doing 100 tasks in a month, agent or these AI agents can solve or we can using AI, we can automate the task and even do a 50% of that. I think we are not there yet.
What about in the team that builds AI agents and cutting edge technology? How have you guys, in terms of building product, have you involved a lot of the AI in the way you build product, like AI, vibe coding, using AI as part of product building process? How much of AI is involved in building your product today?
So I think I really like your suggestions where how we can expedite that process and get the faster feedback from our hypothesis and our validate from those ones. So I think those platforms which you mentioned would be a good way to look into and get the feedback from there. So that's where it's not working, and that's what we should be looking at.
Welcome to UX Stories. I'm your host, Lihong Hicken. I've spent my career obsessed with how we understand what users actually think. When Chris and I helped scale usertesting.com from zero to IPO, we thought we had it figured out. But AI has changed everything. The speed of building is now 10 times faster than the speed of listening. So Chris and I decided we need to build base set. We want to use the vibe testing speed to match the speed of vibe coding. So today I'm here talking to builders who want to ship products their users really love. Today I'm joined by Abhishek Vyas, Director of Product Management, Auditoria.AI. I know you have a lot of product management experience in some of the most influential companies like Meta, Workday, and Walmart. So, besides your glory resume, I want to know, who are you as a product builder?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Leong, and thanks everyone for having me here. And I know we are at the era of AI where the things are moving pretty fast. So I think, and I have been in this industry from last 15 plus years and have been building machine learning and AI products at least from last 7 to 8 years.
Wow.
Started building products for VMware around natural language processing, and that was when the days were the Google APIs for NLP was introduced. So from those days, and use a lot machine learning for my Walmart and at Workday to build predictive analytics, predictive forecasting, different use cases for finance and for different businesses like supply chain, procurement, and others. And since then, moved to the Gen AI, and because we all heard that ChatGPT introduced in 2023 late, and the shift moves to that, okay, let's leverage Gen AI, and is it really mature enough for the enterprise use cases? So did a lot of deep dive and understood, okay, how these technology works, how can I leverage to solve my business use case. So I partnered with the UX researcher and UX team to do a lot of interviews, and we build a conversational AI solution called Ask. And this is now, that time we were calling it conversational planning,
Yeah.
but now Workdays call it like Ask AI.
All
And
right, right.
uh,
So you are building the technology we use to power our solution. That's awesome. That's great.
right. And currently at Auditoria, again, build this is Office of Finance. We are building agentic AI solutions. So using a lot of AI agents which can talk to each other and then solve a user use cases, whether it's an accounts payable, accounts receivable, which is like controller word of the area in the finance, and beyond to that, like FP&A and treasury and others. So we are building a lot of agents, and how these agents are talking and building an agentic AI framework, agentic AI solution, whether it's through a conversational AI or through automations process where the human just give the, like, human in the loop is also key, wherever human decision is in the loop, and then it will solve operational strategic insights issues and for these companies. So yeah,
That's
that's where
interesting.
we are.
It's interesting you mentioned AI, and then it's interesting you mentioned like you're trying to figure out, is this agentic AI ready for enterprise use? What's your
Yes.
conclusion? Is it ready or still too early?
So I would say it is very early stage to really make it more useful where the human, if I think as a human doing 100 tasks in a month, agent or these AI agents can solve or make, can using AI, we can automate the task and even do a 50% of that. I think we are not there yet, but technology and the overall our learning is going pretty fast. So
Mm.
now we know that how different understanding the context when user what they really want to do and how we can automate that entire thing. So it's like the we have heard the story even earlier using RPAs, remote
Mm-hmm.
like robotic process automation, and now the same thing we are solving with agentic AI, but the problem is different. Earlier it were pretty much on the rule based.
All
Now
right.
it's more as non-deterministic. So anything you don't know what should be the next step, that's where we rely on these AI agents, which can determine, okay, if I got an invoice, what next step I need to do that, which is not rule based at all. So I would say that we have come along at that way, and I believe it's very foreseeable future where we can see that agentic AI solutions would be part of this life of the enterprise, where the as a human is also working along with an AI agents together, and they're solving these business problems. So I think soon you will see that, and that's not a distance far future.
That's interesting. So you're saying technology-wise is early stage still, but growing fast, and you're putting in human in the loop. I wanted to know, like, what about the people's mindset in terms of accepting these Gen AI technology? Because from my experience of seeing enterprise adopting AI technology, they put in additional security protocol for AI software or kind of procurement limitation for the AI softwares in the have you seen that coming? Like, enterprise still a little bit cautious about adopting AI compared to the regular SaaS product. Have you seen that as well?
Yes, I have seen that. And what we have start observing is that nowadays these companies have started building an AI. There's an AI committee, or
Mm.
there's a
Yeah,
uh,
AI committee. They had to
right,
vote. Right, right.
right. So that means that earlier you might have seen that, okay, there's a security up, like you go to the security committee who will approve that whether your product is security compliance or not, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
the similar way, you have the AI compliance or AI committee who will check your product, whether like how much data is going to the generic LLM and how much is you are storing within the your small language model, which is in
Mm-hmm.
like tenantive data. So there's a lot of technicality. These experts from individual companies, I know that you won't see many still, but like whosoever is more aware that how AI could be vulnerable to their business data as well, they started building this AI committee or AI expert part of sitting there, and they are making sure that the product is AI compliance. So
Yeah.
we have started seeing the trend, and I would say this trend will grow like pretty fast.
Yeah.
Whosoever is adopting AI, they would definitely want to know that how this technology works as well. And security being another paramount here, because given that now the enterprise data would be also, we don't want any customer don't want their data to like use as a
Data for
training
LLM.
data.
Yeah, I see.
Correct,
Yes.
correct. So I think that's where these software vendors needs to be very cautious, like how and when they can leverage it, and how much, how they have consent from if they're really using for training or not. So I think the transparency will be playing a key role, the adoption of these technologies, and the vendors who are pretty transparent and responsible AI, like, yes, I'm responsible for your data and for my AI and how it can be using, where all you can bring the human in the loop. So there's so many factors will be coming in. We needs to be, and these companies are being more cautious about that.
That's great. Thank you for the comment on that. So, what about in the team that builds AI agents and cutting edge technology? How have you guys, in terms of building product, have you involved a lot of the AI in the way you build product, like AI vibe coding, using AI as part of product building process? how much of the how much of AI is involved in building your product today?
And I would say it for us, it is a lot, right? All of our developers using vibe coding. I think,
Mm.
and even the product manager, even just like I give you a entire journey, like how the things are being changed and being built, is that as a product manager, if somebody wants to explain to their engineer that, okay, how the product should be built. Earlier, before AI or before vibe coding, they used to write like a lot of big function, this PRDs, product requirement document, like pages and pages of that. And how it has changed now, as a product manager, you know that what is your customers wants visually, and some even workflow wise as well. So what they can do, they can use this Cursor or other like Lovable and these different product tools these days,
Yeah, build out prototype right
where
away.
and they can build out the product really fast, and that is easier to communicate your requirement to the engineers, right? So I think that's where the UX and product team are evolving pretty fast, and they're using this technology and tools. Same goes for the engineers. Now engineers is using this Cursor code and other tools, toolcase, where they are building the product again fast. So they give this requirement to these tools, and they don't start from the zero. They always start from somewhere like 30 or 40.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The overall development has been really fast. And then the many companies start encouraging their engineers and their product team to using this tool, because the one fact that they are acknowledging now is they are not allowing the engineers. That means they will be lagging behind and they will not catch up, because other competitor will do really fast. So I think these technologies are like part of, like, for example, like earlier the SDKs and other used to be part of your journey. Now these product is part of your overall product life cycle as well. So you
Yeah.
can't avoid them for sure.
So you guys have adopt tools like a Lovable for like a, I would call them like a vibe design, like, language, natural language to come up with a design, and then easy to communicate with the engineers rather than write big product specs the old
Yeah.
ways. Where is the customer feedback in all of this? Do you, I think in the past, people will grab a Figma prototype and then go send it to some usability testing sites and watch. Because people oftentimes say you can't take customers' word for it, or you can't guess what users want. You kind of wanted to put in front of people before we code it. But
Yeah.
there's also this like with vibe coding, you can build things so quickly in the afternoon. You could guess it, and if you guess it wrong, you can rip it apart. So, I guess for your world, what's your thoughts? Do you want to guess it and then we guess it wrong, rip it apart, or you still like take the lovable link and show it to people? What's your process today in terms of making sure you're building the right thing the
Okay, the
customers
first of
want?
all, the things hasn't been changed in that regard, because we always building product which customer love wants, right?
Right,
So
right,
so that's a validation of, okay, how and what I should build.
right,
It's it is, if you are not solving customers problem and the way customer want, you are not building the product which gonna sell or they're gonna buy, right? I think there is, yes, you take some hypothesis use, but you always validate these hypotheses with your customer, right? Or with interviews with your customers, with your UX researcher being partner there, and then you're going out, even like prospects customer, or even going outside of industry and take from the industry expert as well, if you don't have existing customers as. So I think that things hasn't changed, and that I would say that's a key to success of any product. But to your point, Yong, is that now the things is being pretty fast and easier to validate your solution with the customers, right? We
right.
don't want to write in a document, as you said, we don't want to take customers' word. We want to show them the solution, how the solution will look like. Here, how used to happen, you take your customer, you take the requirement, you send it out, to one of your customer and explain to them in your Word document or some Figma design, and
Yeah.
then you validate those one. But that take months because you need to work with the UX team, you need to work make sure that
Take
designing
forever.
that
Yeah. So
forever, right?
how do you do it quick today?
Right. So now these technologies like vibe coding and vibe designing, right? And
Yes.
that has been a big help, right? So as you said, I just need to drag and drop and give the commands, give my prompt, how do really I, based on what I heard from customer and what based on my experience and what I envision the product, I build that a journey in a day or two. And then I get an appointment for my prospects and current customer and see that, okay, is this what you think that this is the workflow is good or not, right? And then you can get a quick feedback and you do a quick iteration on the requirement or the how you want to build that, and then you're good to go. That means that you are not your engineer.
Wait a moment. So you get a design, maybe a lovable link or mobile link, and you schedule a call with your actual prospect and show it to them manually?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
So
you need that's like a stone age speed with a very fast building. So you probably
yeah.
can't get feedback on everything you're building because scheduling back and forth will take forever. And you probably can't schedule like 10, 20 people.
Yeah, you cannot, right?
Why don't you do things like unmoderated testing with usertesting.com or something to get this feedback within the same day?
So I think that's another. So depending on what you are building and what
Yeah,
you're targeting as well. So I think your point is right. I think sometimes there will be a certain stage where you want to go to your customer, right, and want to make sure
yeah,
that that's what you're building. And there would be a certain stage of the product where you want to go this and this and other websites and make sure that you are getting the right feedback there or not. So depending on your product life cycle where you are. So if I'm
right.
already past my first round of testing or validation from there, those automated websites and others, right? Quick feedback. Then because ultimately who are going to buy your product? Because I understand scheduling and then validating might take time. But I think those are the one which would be truly hardening your product requirement. Yes, this is
Right.
what I want because the end of the day, they're going to pay for your product. And you want to make sure that the requirement is coming the right way from the right source at pretty early stage. I would say like preliminary stage, definitely I can get the quick feedback either from your dog fooding with your internal teams, with your partners, or with your that those websites where you can get the quick feedback. But end of the day, you have to go to your customers and validate your hypothesis and validate your design and the requirement. Like, okay, this is what we are building, and will it solve your with this problem A, with this problem B, with this problem
That's
C or
right.
not?
That's right.
All right.
So,
So yes.
so the I think you and I both agree is it very important to make sure you validate your prototype or your live product with your existing customers or potential customers to make sure you're building the right thing they're gonna use and they're gonna love using. The problem is how do we do it fast so it matches the speed of white coding? I can tell you, you can't do it by manually scheduling a call with them because scheduling it's not doesn't work with vibe coding. So and the thing is that the solution has been invented 13 years ago by user testing.com. I can tell you why I've found that most companies, especially AI companies, don't do it is because what's happening right now in the feedback world is the private equity firm has purchased all the top companies in user testing world. Testing.com, user Zoom, what users do in user interview have all been purchased by the same company. So unless you're paying 13K, 30K a year, you can't afford to do this test, right?
Yeah.
So it's that's kind of thing. I think back in the days, then 13 years ago when I was early employee at user testing.com, a test is 19.99 a test. Anyone with
Oh wow.
curiosity, anyone who is interested in getting feedback on this, you can order a test, an hour later the result is back.
Mm-hmm.
So have you heard about the company like Instagram? Is it Instagram like later on purchased by Facebook for $1 billion? So those guys, I was the early tester for them. They were doing 2 runs of tests per week. They would come with a wireframe or prototype. They order a test, and then I know they will go for lunch, and then after lunch they will make some tweak to that design based on the first one, the feedback, and 2 p.m. they order another round. So every day they will do 2 runs of improvement to their prototype and just keep improving it. And then later on prototype become live product between mobile app. It just keep improving. And when they got acquired for $1 billion and they only have 11 employees, I was not surprised because they have
Yeah,
done so much work in a short amount of time. But today, I think people can build very fast. But whether or not they build the right product for the right people and or build the right direction, it's a big question
it's a
because
big question. Yeah.
yeah, people lost the popular belief in product that you think is completely wrong. Something that it's popular belief in product, but
Yeah, no, I think I will definitely answer that question. But just to close it on the first discussion, there is that
yeah,
there is a some difference between a B2C product and B2B product.
right,
B2B is very niche, aligned to a set of customers and set of persona and targeted segment, right?
right,
And that's where you need a true feedback from your those customers, right, who are gonna, like, for example, if I'm selling to Home Depot, that means that how these bricks and mortars companies works. So whereas if the example you take for Instagram, right, and that's where
right.
you can get a common feedback from anybody on those platforms, right? So depending on
Right.
your product is like how you want to validate on that part. So I think that's where the things bit different, but I think I totally
You
agree
can
with you
still
that
recruit B2B audience as well. My last
yeah.
company were recruiting software engineering leaders and we were able
Okay.
to recruit
Yeah.
them. So you can recruit product leaders who build AI agent.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can recruit people who, he is using, Gemini and Grok. You can recruit specific ones. It's just
Yes. So I
instance.
think
Yeah.
exactly. And I think totally agree with you that you can recruit those guys, and but those are still journalists. Like you might not get pretty specific what you're looking, but I think you're right. You can get a good feedback from the stage 1 or stage 0 for sure, your product. Okay. To answer your this question is that like what is people assumption are still wrong, right? In this new world when you build a product. So I would say that the basic fundamental hasn't been changed, right? How you are building product. Like I know that things has been expert all these AI word, but the still you are solving the customer or your business or your users need that hasn't been changed, right? So the product or the UX team still needs to focus on that part, like how you're doing it's evolving, but what you need to build, and that's a key, and that's still not change, and that will never change. And I think you should always think the from your customer's lens, like okay, what I need to solve, how is definitely will be improving. Just a very simple example, like earlier that accountant, they used to do the mind calculation and they started using calculator and the computers, but still the calculation is the core, the problem, like how we are doing solving. So I think that problem hasn't been changed, and then that definitely gonna be the key for UX and the product teams, like focused on your customer needs, focused on the problem statement, focused on prioritizations of those problems, like which one you want to solve first, which is you want to solve second and third. I think those first few steps is never changed and will never change it. So
The
I think
forever rule, the first principle of building products, just like focus on solving the problem for your customer. That's really good.
exactly.
Yeah, it's great. I guess I have this big question in my head. Like these days, there's so many different ways to get feedback. You can do surveys. You can have manual interviews. These, tools have section replays where you can watch people fail the task and whatever. And there is this old, people, old school way like me, like focus on user testing. I want to watch users do the task I want them to do. I want to hear their thoughts with this because for me, I don't believe what they say. I want to see what they do, and then I want to hear when they fail the task. I want to hear their thoughts. I believe there's a value, but I'm seeing the younger generation of vibe coding product builders don't do it. I want to hear from you. Has like, is there a value in really doing usability testing today? Today's AI powered product builder environment. Is it just old people's way of doing it?
No, I think it's still hold a value, and it still hold a lot of weightage in your product development. Usability testing is still a key milestone when you get feedback from your prospects, user or existing users as well, like how the product will be used in their environment or even like labs environment in there. So I think that shouldn't be changed, and there should not be a shortcut around that piece, because there will be a lot of things might break or may not be. The adoption would be a problem. The end of the day, the adoption would be a problem if you cut short that path. So I would say, don't think is a old like way
Old
of
people's method.
doing thing. I think this is still a valid stage in your product life cycle for sure.
Okay, cool. That's great. All right, some rapid fire question will wrap up. So, what does your current user testing stack look like, and what's working, what's not working?
So as we spoke, like few points in our discussion, so we are using like all of our, like we have for with our customers, right? So and then those platforms where we are recruiting those experts, and we are recruiting those C level executives as well, like who can validate our hypothesis. So we are leveraging those platforms. We are leveraging those quick validations from our users, and so that is working. But as you said, the recruitment and everything is still make your life slower, because scheduling and everything will take time.
It's tough. Yeah.
So I would say that is the again area. So I think I really like your suggestions where we how we can expedite that process and get the faster feedback from our hypothesis and our validate from those ones. So I think those platforms which you mentioned would be a good way to look into and get the feedback from there. So that's where it's not working, and that's what you should be looking up to.
Yeah, you need to bring up the speed and automation. You
Yes.
can't do this manually. This is something that there's a couple ways we can help you do it. Is a set up and forget. You need to recruit your customers automatically all the time, rather than, oh, I need to remember, that there is something that you can capture and post it on your websites, like a pop-up automation that always recruit a customer and let the machine do it for you. So like ongoing project rather than one-off project. I think you should do that. And then besides that, what if you have a magic wand, what's one thing that could make gathering feedback for you dramatically easier? Just like magical wand. Anything, if I'm a Santa Claus, I can make your wish come true.
I think there's so many wishes for sure, and which one it make true, I'm not sure. But like the I think it is, for me, it's boiling and like ocean. That's what people think. Like, okay, there's so many problems around, right? And it's still hard for any product team to have you focused on the right problem, which will make your the when you started selling, you can sell really fast. So I think the identifying the right problem and the helping in the prioritization in that, I think that's a key, and that's where the true success lies for any company, right? Why many startups fail, because either they have not find the right problem, or they might not have used the right tools or right way to solve that problem. That's where then
How do you know you find the right problem? What is your determination to know you have the right problem? Is it by yourself or by the user or by the revenue? How do you determine what's the problem?
so now you are empathizing on that's a big problem, right?
So,
Finding the
yeah.
right problem to solve that. So and that's what I need the magic wand, like the because we all as a human work on the hypothesis, right? Hey, I believe or I assume or I think that these are the problems in the industry, right? And then we go and validate with X number of customer, or sorry, X number of users, or the like validate around that piece, right? So but you can only go for finite number of things, right? You can only reach like 30, 40, 50, 100, right, max. And then you can validate those problem statement, and then you have to start building on that one. So there always an hypothesis behind these, right? Okay, I believe based on my data which I receive from these users, I believe this is the problem we want to solve. But those sample from millions to those 100 may not be the right pick. So I think picking the right
Problem.
data set, when I say data means like problem, the right people who can give you the right, like what to solve, is the key.
Yeah. So it's funny. This is sidetrack. Problem product market fit, problem product fit. So
Yeah.
so for me personally, this is how I chose my last company, which is YC company later on got acquired. I actually, before I decided I want to work for that company, I ordered a user test of 50 people, software engineers, and then show them the product, the prototype, and then see like, does this solve your problem? Is that product valuable? All this. And then I watched the video manually one by one. And then I realized, yes, they want it. This is good. And then I
Yeah.
decided to join the company because I
Yeah.
know this is the right problem to solve, and the rest of go to market I can figure it out myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an employee benefit. But today with Lisa, I don't need to watch the video myself. The AI will summarize all
Summarize
that.
that and all those for
Yeah,
you. Yeah. I think
yeah.
that how part is become easier. That's what I was saying. Like you need to digesting the information. It's become easier. Now you can somebody is there who can summarize for you or like
Okay.
give them the information for you. Yeah.
That's definitely something we can help. That's great. Thank you so much for the insightful and fun conversation today.